you have just kind of torn it up. You've written a bunch of bestsellers. You've had these number one ranked TV shows. And then on top of that, you've climbed Mount Everest and you're on speaking tours, and you're just wreaking havoc, buddy. You're doing all kinds of great stuff. So where did it start? So put it in order for the listeners.
So first of all, it was TV. TV came calling. So in the UK, the Special Forces Circle, we only got one Special Forces, and it's the tier one, and it's such a small circle. Mm-hmm. And we got wind that Channel 4 wanted to do which is a terrestrial channel here in the UK. They wanted to do a selection process, a Special Forces selection process for everyday folk, people from all walks of life, to see if they've got the physicality and the mentality to be pushed to certain limits. And one phone call literally led to another. It's like, Ant, there's this TV production company. They want to do this TV program. Are you game for it? And I'm like, yeah, let's see where it takes me. And then I got a phone call from the channel saying, Ant, would really like to speak to you and interview you for this TV show. And I'm like, great, let's do it. Then DSF, so the Director of Special Forces, got wind of it. So as soon as they got wind of it, they were like, to everyone within the organization, they were like, do not go near it. If you go near it, obviously you're going to break the Secrecy Act. Secrecy Act is that we can't be filmed and we shouldn't give away our identity. So everyone, there was probably about 15 of us in the beginning, and everyone went shooting back under their rocks, into the shadows. And it was just left with me and Foxy, basically. And I said to Foxy, I said, I'm doing it. I said, I've got a family to feed. We can really, really amplify this as a great promotional tool for the military. We're not going to give away any trade secrets. It's been done before. You look at your Andy McNabs and your Macaleeses and, your Eddie Stones, they've done a version of this before. And, all you're doing is doing military type training with individuals. So I said, look, they're getting too carried away with it. I said, we're not going to give away any of that. We wouldn't do that anyway. So I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then Foxy was the same. He's one of the instructors on the course. He said he's going to do it. And then we got pulled into the barracks. And if you do this, we're going to take you to court. And I said, look, listen, I've got a family to provide for. I said, I've got bills to pay. I said, and plus there's a great message here. I said, if we get this right, we make it different and we lead by example and we really show them what we're worth. I said, it can be a great promotional tool. And in the end, the power of persuasion, we managed to get the sign off. But everything had to be bypassed by the military. Everything that we do that has any military tone to it, it has to go through a system where it gets signed off to make sure that we're not slipping up, and rightly so. So I agreed to that. And then before I know it, SAS Who Dares Wins is born. I'm the chief instructor on it, and it's blown in the UK. It's just gone bang. And then straight into some books. I started writing books, and again, not your typical autobiographies, your war stories. It's just like how I've overcome certain situations, how I've used fear to my advantage during my time in the Special Forces, how I've managed to adapt the positive mindset that I have through my life experiences, whether it's losing my father at a young age, the military, going to prison, now, reforming a new career, and people can really, really relate to that. And so my books sort of blew as well thereafter. And then it just went from TV program to TV program. Then I'd done, I climbed Everest, which was filmed. I reenacted the mutiny on the Bounty from 1789, the hardest survival feat known to man. That was hardcore. It took us 60 days. I lost 21 kilograms during that. Wow. And then it just blew from there. Then it went bang over to Australia. And now I'm doing SAS Australia. And my books are just going from strength to strength. I've just teetered into the fiction sector. So, which is going really well. A book called Cold Justice, and it's about a character called Mallory. That's just hit the Sunday Times best-selling chart as well. So it's all go. It's all systems go, mate. It's all systems go. But what I love about it is it's given me a platform to help people, and keeping it real. I like to keep things real. Yes, we mess up. Yes, we make mistakes. I've messed up along the way, but it's about the bounce back. It's about how you adapt psychologically to process what you've done in order to be an advantage to your life, in order to impact you in a positive way to move forward. And I've been there and done it, whether it's, like I said, combat, whether it's Everest, where I nearly died as well, or whether it's, being at the lowest of the low and going to prison, and, getting back out and rebuilding.
But the differences between the SBS and the SAS, and we know that the SAS is kind of the more popular one that we've heard about for decades. You guys, or they were I looked up to them throughout my career. You always hear things about, the Brits. You guys have been doing it longer when it came to counterterrorism. You had all the experience for a very long time. But what are the big differences between the SAS and the SBS?
Do you know what? The only difference between the two, we do exactly the same selection process. So there's only one tier one sort of organization, and that's the SBS, Special Boat Service, and the SAS. The SBS is the Navy Special Forces, and the SAS is the Army Special Forces. So exactly the same selection process, and at the end, you can sort of pick and choose where you want to go. I was an ex-Royal Marine, so we stay loyal to the Navy. So I stayed loyal to the Navy and went SBS. And normally the Army, if you're ex-infantry or parachute regiment or whatever it may be, you stay loyal to the Army and you go to the SAS. But they're almost exactly the same. But we lead with maritime counterterrorism, and the SAS lead when it comes to land options. But in a couple of years, Clint, I think that everything will amalgamate into one fighting unit. This whole tier one will just amalgamate into one fighting unit, because we do exactly the same selection process. And we, as the SBS, we led out in Afghanistan. There's not much water in Afghanistan, but that was our territory for 15 years. And for the SAS, it was Iraq. So now, we come from the air, we come from land, we come from water. I would say that the Special Boat Service has the slight advantage of being versatile. We spend a lot of time on the water. You add water to anything, as you know, Clint, it can become a complete cluster fuck, right? It can really, really mess things up. And if you can operate on water and with water around you, underwater, on top of it, then you can pretty much operate anywhere in the world. That's what I believe. So we have that advantage of just that maritime training, and also when it comes to land stuff and you're nice and dry, you always sort of thank your lucky stars that you're not wet, cold, and miserable before you start a task.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And that's a great explanation. So, for American listeners, really the SBS is equivalent to SEAL Team 6 and the SAS is equivalent to like Delta Force. And
Absolutely.
And the reality is we, the United States military, have mirrored a lot of our organizational structure, terminology, you name it, tactics, based on you guys. And, it's a cool history. It was amazing to me the other day to see it in social media. We just celebrated, I think it was the Navy's birthday several months ago, and it was, 200 and whatever years old. And then I saw the Royal Marines birthday, and it's 100+ years older than our Navy, 300 and something years old. And, it's very telling that, the power and the longevity of the Brits and you guys being around for so long. It's pretty cool.
But we work closely with Team 6, with Dev Group. We've adapted a lot of drills, especially in that Afghanistan era. We've worked very closely with Dev Group, and we've adapted a lot of drills, from the way we enter buildings, the way we fight from the door now, the way we fight from windows, the way we roll into certain tasks, vehicle interdictions, Afghanistan, that sort of came into place. And the drills and skills that we've adapted has been jointly with Team 6, you know, so we work ever so closely together, and we've adapted this sort of new age modern warfare through the Americans, yourselves, and through the Brits. So even though we might be older in our organization, we work very, very closely together, and we've come up with a highly effective operational close quarter combat drills and skills intertwined with Dev Group and Team 6. So, you know, we can't take all the glory, but right now it is 50-50, and you know, we do work closely together and adapt everything that we do to fit a modern day battlefield.
You're listening to Can You Survive This podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.